Double boom. LSU lands transfers in football and basketball. Let's talk about it. Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt McMahon. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. LSU lands transfer additions in football and basketball, and the baseball Tigers drop the series finale in College Station. Yes, I do realize if you're watching on YouTube, that right there says LSU dorps A&M series. Might as well be a dorp, but they did drop it. They didn't dorp it. My apologies. In any event, on Sunday night, the announcement came that we had all expected. Let me not say that we had all. If you're an everydayer, you would have expected this because for a solid week, you've heard me talk about AJ Haulcy. And as a matter of fact, on Saturday, you heard me say this. Haulcy is going to visit LSU on Sunday. And I believe, barring something dramatically unforeseen, he will be an LSU Tiger. Might have a few whispers already that he's heading that way. Yeah, because AJ Haulcy had already silently committed to LSU, and I knew that on Friday. So Haulcy had committed to LSU. He took his visit. It was all the things that we had talked about. He had visited Ole Miss, left there without committing. He visited Miami, left there without committing. LSU had a very healthy NIL offer on the table, and obviously an opportunity to play immediately on a championship caliber team. On Friday, Miami took a commitment from a Tennessee safety transfer, which opened the door for Haulcy, basically essentially ushered Haulcy to LSU, which we knew was going to be the thing. So I told you the numbers already. I don't know the exact number that Haulcy got in NIL, but what I do know is that the On3 NIL valuation for him was $400,000. I was told point blank when I asked, the number was higher than that, but I did not find out an exact number. Yes, LSU very much in the business of buying players, which Brian Kelly said a year ago they were not, but this is the game. If you were to win at this game, you have to play this game, which means you have to be willing to pay players more than other teams will. If all else is equal, money will win out. And that's not to say all else is equal in every situation, but in a given situation, if all else is equal, money will win out. And LSU has certainly been able to do that in this transfer portal class. My goodness, what a haul for LSU. No pun intended there with AJ Haulcy, but LSU, the transfer portal class here for 2025, depending on which, service you subscribe to, LSU either the number 1 or 2 portal class in the country, and they've added 2 here in the spring cycle. I want to remind you of this because after the spring game, the spring scrimmage, whatever you want to call it, this is what Brian Kelly said when he was asked about the spring transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, I like our roster right now. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't have anybody in the portal on either side, either leaving our program or adding. I would be. If you ask me right now, I would be happy to take this roster right into May, and on both sides of it. Maybe that's fool's gold. Maybe that's wishing more than anything else. But I like what we've done with this roster. I like the development of it. Not all of that is in my control, obviously, but I can tell you we're not actively saying we got to have this, we got to have that. We feel good about our roster. If something shows itself that is an incredible opportunity, we're certainly going to investigate any time that we can help our football team. And so we're always going to be looking to help our team, but it's not like it was obviously in January.
Not like it was in January, certainly not like it was a year ago or when Brian Kelly showed up. I want to illustrate to you how much things have changed. So with the addition of AJ Haulcy, Bernard Gooden was the previous transfer. With AJ Haulcy, LSU is now at 18 portal additions for 2025. Let me give you some context. When Brian Kelly showed up in 2022, remember, Ed Ogeron had kind of left and decimated the roster. There were 38 scholarship players that played in that bowl game, that Texas Bowl against Kansas State. Remember that? How could you forget if you watched it? He had a receiver playing quarterback. Anyway, that year, LSU had to fortify its numbers. It added 15 portal players. A year later, they added 13. And for the 2024 roster, they added 9 via the portal. Remember, Brian Kelly had said pretty openly he wanted to build through the high school ranks, recruit, develop, and supplement via the portal. And we said pretty consistently here, only time would tell if that strategy would work. And what happened? You were 8-4 a year ago because you added 9 bodies. And 9 bodies can be fine if it's not in impact players, but that's not what LSU added in 2024. The transfer portal players they added in 24 were JVR Suggs, Gio Paez, CJ Daniels, Austin Osbury, Blake Oxendorf, Xavier Thomas, Jair Brown, Jordan Gilbert, AJ Swan. Get the point? None of those guys were impact guys in 2024. Look at what they have added now. Not only have they added 18 players via the portal, the most of the Kelly era, it's impact guys. Go back to the very beginning. Jamari Butler, Jakeem Jackson, Josh Thompson's going to be a starter. Barrion Brown could be a starter. Nick Anderson could be your best receiver. Bauer Sharp's going to start at tight end. Destin Hill's going to be an impact guy. Braylon Moore's probably your starting center. Michael Van Buren's your backup quarterback. Jack Pyburn's probably a starting defensive end. Mansour Delane's going to start at corner. Grant Chadwick's probably your starting punter. Sadir Mitchell's going to be part of your defensive tackle rotation. Patrick Payton's going to start at defensive end. Donovan Green's a backup tight end. Tamarcus Cooley, AJ Haulcy are going to start at safety. Bernard Gooden's going to start at defensive tackle or certainly be part of the rotation. The point is, you didn't just go add bodies. You had dudes that you're expecting to be immediate impact guys. A dramatic difference from a year ago or at any point during the Brian Kelly era, which he is in effect telling you the way that you have to win is not what he thought it was going to be. And it makes sense because you're looking at a situation where you're going to lose a quarter of your roster every year. So in 2 years, half of your recruiting class is gone. You can go spend all the resources to recruit Lance Hurd. If he's gone after 1 year, what did that get you? Why not, instead of getting Lance Hurd for 1 year as a backup, go get Braylon Moore or Josh Thompson for 1 year as a starter? That's kind of the approach you have to take. And it's a year-to-year approach, and it's not what most people are used to or what most people want to see in college football, but it's the reality. And if you want to win, it's what Ohio State did last year. It's what Ole Miss did last year. Ohio State won a national championship. Ole Miss didn't make the playoff. So you still got to coach them. You still got to be able to take all those pieces, put them together, make them win. But undeniably, you added AJ Haulcy, whose PFF grade a year ago was 80.5. The highest graded safety on your team was a 69. That was Sage Ryan. He's not even on the team anymore. He's in Oxford at Ole Miss. So you upgraded your safety position, which was your worst position defensively, by adding not 1, but 2 starting safeties. By the way, Haulcy played both free and strong in 2024 at the University of Houston. He started 33 games during his career. So go get it, man. You went and got 2 guys at safety that make you immediately better. Now, I did get this message from a guy named Travis who said, Matt, I have a thought. And if you think it's stupid, tell me. His words, not mine. He said, we just spent $1 trillion at safety in the winter portal, meaning on Tamarcus Cooley. And we're about to get another high-priced guy. Meanwhile, guys like Deshaun Spears was a 5-star as a sophomore now. We shouldn't need to get portal guys to play over him. He should be ready to go now. We would never have gotten portal guys to play over Grant Delpit or Eric Reed. I'm not saying Spears should be as good as those guys, but I think he should be ready to go at least at this point. Right. A couple of things. Number one, you didn't spend $1 trillion. And number two, none of the guys you have on the roster are sophomore Grant Delpit or Eric Reed. Grant Delpit played a ton as a sophomore. Eric Reed started as a freshman. Eric Reed was starting by November of his freshman season. Those were already starting caliber players. Deshaun Spears played a lot in the first month of the season, wasn't quite ready for it. In the second half of the season, saw his playing time diminish dramatically over the second half of the season at LSU as a freshman. So it's not what and what. As a matter of fact, if you look at Spears' snap counts by game a year ago, in the opener against USC, he played 2 snaps. Against Nicholls, 28, South Carolina, 44, UCLA, 37, South Alabama, 37. Again, then this is his snap count the rest of the way. 3, 5, 13, 8, 1. He vanished. He vanished because he wasn't ready. Now, he played 27 snaps against Baylor in the bowl game. He had opt-outs and everything. Jordan Gilbert had the shoulder surgery. But the point is, he wasn't ready. By the end of their freshman years, Reed and Delpit were ready. So could Spears and Toviano and Rogers, could they be great in 2025? They could. Maybe they won't be. So do you go with a question or a given? A given is 2 guys that were starting safeties at the Power 5 level and were great players. And if your young guys beat them out, awesome. But if not, pretty nice fallback. Having 2 dudes that were starters at the Power 5 level a year ago slip into the position that was your weakest defensively a year ago. AJ Haulcy has committed to LSU. You might have heard that here. By the way, you also might have heard here something about another basketball portal edition. Oh, really? I might take another victory lap in a second. Why not? I'm recording this later on a Sunday night. Let's get crazy. It's Locked on LSU. It's your team every day. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trademaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's at supplyhouse.com. LSU not only landed a commitment out of the portal for football, they also landed another commitment and signee for basketball. This time not out of the transfer portal, but out of the international market. Something you might have heard here as well. What I was told on Friday is that LSU does want to get to 13, so they want one more. And maybe this is a little bit of an indication, being that they took Pablo Tamba earlier this week, a guy who played for the Spanish national team. They may go international with this player. It's got to be the right guy, but I was told that there's certainly they're tilling the soil in the international market. Yeah, and ultimately they did go international. Ron Zipper committed to LSU on Saturday, actually not long after I dropped that video. But this is an interesting one because you're getting a mature player. So Ron Zipper, coming over from Israel, and he's 22 years old already. So you're talking about a guy that is, by the time he'll play at LSU, he'll be 22. He was the MVP of the 2021 FIBA U18 tournament. He was a starter for Israel's national U20 team. He is a left-handed shooter, by the way. There's a really good tweet from Yuval Shaham, who mentioned 21 years old with 4 years of eligibility remaining, 2 years of professional basketball experience in the Premier League, but he's been 4 years as a pro in Israel. As we mentioned, the FIBA U18 tournament MVP back in 2021, a starter for Israelis U20 team, an NBA level three-point shooter, and a career 45% three-point shooter. Again, this is in professional international basketball there in Israel. So you're talking about a guy who brings maturity, has 40 years of eligibility, although it's very unlikely that he's going to play 4 years. But LSU was desperate for shooting, and you go get a 22-year-old sharpshooter who's been a professional basketball player for 4 years. I said it before, I'll say it again for those who might have missed it. Again, shout out to our everydayers who heard this already. But Ronald Dupree was brought in as LSU's new general manager for basketball, former LSU basketball player Ronald Dupree. Well, Ronald Dupree most recently was the director of global scouting for the Milwaukee Bucks. So his job was to scout internationally for the Milwaukee Bucks. High and low, far and wide, go find the best players in the world. Well, Ronald Dupree also played professionally in Jerusalem in 2013 and 2014. So you're talking about who played in Israel, has ties to that organization, to basketball in that nation, and obviously was very well aware of a guy like Ron Zipper and is able to bring him now to Baton Rouge. So Zipper, a 6'4" guard, averaged 11 points per game this past season, and is a guy that comes in ready-made to make a big impression. Remember, DJ Thomas from UNLV is going to be your starting point guard, but you could see a world where Ron Zipper is your starting two guard at 6'4" and a sharpshooter. If not, then he's instant offense off the bench. And you can look at what LSU has done numbers-wise so far, and you're talking about a team that has added now 8 players, 7 via the portal, but then if you want to add Zipper, that's 7 via the portal, that's an 8th player now that they've added, plus the 3 freshmen, which gets you to 11, and then the 2 returning players with Robert Miller and Jalen Reed, of course, that puts you at 13. So as I understand it, barring something unforeseen at this point, LSU is done. They wanted to get to 13, as we've said pretty frequently here. It's unlikely that they're going to get to 15, which is the new limit, but no school in the SEC appears willing or desired to get to 15 because, as you're talking about revenue share, whatever the school is going to allocate, let's say whatever the LSU athletic department is going to allocate for basketball, just use a round number. I'm not saying this is the number. Let's just say it's $1 million. It's going to be higher than that, but just say it's $1 million. Whatever that number is, you can divide it. You have to divide it among however many scholarship players you have. So you can go up to 15, but if you go to 15, then everybody gets a smaller piece. So what's the number you can land at that's going to allow you to maximize the pile of money, the pool of money that you have here in the revenue share era? And yes, they're still front-loading contracts via NIL like football is doing, and I've explained that a good bit as well, where you can front-load a contract by paying them NIL until the revenue share goes into effect. So you can pay them now and front-load a contract so their rev share isn't large for the season itself in a fall or spring of 25, spring of 26. You could front load it now, which is what LSU is doing in football as well, largely. So it's a big advantage to be able to do that when you can do that. So the LSU basketball team, their roster, it would appear now is set for the 2025-2026 season. Again, you've added Jalen Reese, Maisie Mosley, Matt Gillul, DJ Thomas, Michael Nwoko, Rashad King, Max McKinnon, Markel Sutton, PJ Carter, Pablo Tamba, and now Ron Zipper. So your roster is set, and you have spent handsomely in rev share NIL on this roster to give Matt McMahon something that he can build with, something that he can compete in the toughest league in America with. Is it enough? Now that's up to Matt McMahon. I'm not going to sit here today and tell you that this is a team that should make a run to a Sweet 16, a Final Four, anything of the sort. I don't know. I think it is a very difficult task to take so many new players when there's only 2 players that were on your team a year ago. Miller and Jalen Reed. And by the way, Jalen Reed had a torn ACL and missed the bulk of the season. So really, you have a whole new roster. Now, you got a much more talented roster. You got a legit point guard in DJ Thomas. You got a legit sharpshooter, a 22-year-old here in Ron Zipper. You went and added front court players, back court players, experienced dudes, starters, athletic guys, big bodies. You've added a ton. Like your roster looks the part right now. Michael Nwoko was a starter in the SEC. You know, Rashad King is a 6'6" wing. Max McKinnon can defend the wing and can shoot. Markel Sutton's a 6'9" power forward that can jump out the gym. You had a PJ Carter who gives you good depth in the backcourt. So you are you're better. There's no way around. You are a better, more talented team than you were a year ago. Can Matt McMahon get all of these guys to play in unison at their peak level to be a tournament team that can advance? That's a giant question you'll have to answer. But if the charge was, and I'll tell you, I sat here hand in the air. I sat here so many times and told you that Matt McMahon was going to a gunfight with a knife. He was taking a knife to a gunfight. You had no chance. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest coach. If John Wooden could come back from the dead and coach the LSU basketball team a year ago. He ain't getting them to the tournament. They shouldn't have enough talent to compete in the best league ever. This team will have enough talent. Now, every expectation for Matt McMahon is fair. You've got to be able to get to the tournament. If you can't get this team to the tournament, now you have a real question about whether Matt McMahon's a guy long-term. But at least now, you can judge him fairly based on the loaded deck that he has. Again, LSU adds Ron Zipper from Israel. 4 years of professional, now joining the LSU men's basketball team. All right, we'll wrap up next. Locked on LSU, your team every day. You ever look at your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. And it provides all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check out your finances, track spending, even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Baseball Tigers dropped Game 3, the rubber match in College Station after the team split a doubleheader on Saturday. LSU loses Game 3 in ugly fashion, where LSU was up 4-2 in the bottom of the eighth, and unfortunately, Zach Cowan was called upon, and the Tiger ace reliever allowed a 4 spot in the eighth, including a 3-run homer to Caden Sorrell, which was the final blow. A game that LSU seemingly had in hand, up 2 runs in the eighth inning with their best reliever on the mound. And for the second time in the series, Zach Cowan takes an L. A couple of things about the game itself in Game 3, but really the weekend as a whole. LSU's pitching was, by and large, outstanding. And when your pitching is, as I said, by and large, outstanding, and you lose a series, it's fair to squarely look at the offense, which continues to be an issue and something that's a concern. You lost Game 1 3-1. You won Game 2 2-1, and then you lost Game 3 6-4. So the fact that through 2 games you scored 3 runs, and on the weekend you scored a total of 7, is a gigantic concern at this point, because I understand there are going to be times where good teams get handcuffed by great pitchers. And LSU's had trouble with aces. Liam Doyle from Tennessee throwing 100 from the left side, that's a problem. Not a lot of college guys are going to hit that. I could even understand, as much as he has struggled this year for Texas A&M, Ryan Prager is still a dude from the left side and was in Omaha last year and was shoving and was awesome. He threw 7 innings of 1-run ball against you in Game 1. I can understand Prager. You having real issues with Prager. But when you go out there and manage just 2 runs in Game 2 when you're facing Justin Lampkin, that's a little bit harder to stomach. And then in Game 3, you put up 4 runs, and if we're being perfectly honest with ourselves, 2 of the runs came on misplays, where Josh Jordan, the LSU third base coach, was sending runners from third, and in both instances would have been dead to rights if Texas A&M could have executed a relay. Miles Patton going 6 innings of 4-run ball that's concerning. Now, look, Weston Moss, their closer who came in and pitched the final 3 innings, was awesome, but he's great. He's one of the best closers in the country. Weston Moss in this ball game went 3 innings. I'm going to give you his final line. He went 3 innings, no runs, 1 hit, struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. He's one of the best relievers in the country. You gave him the ball. He closed it. That's what we had all hoped or Zach Cowan would have been able to do. He didn't. So the inability for these bats to hit really over the last month is a real concern. They were fine against Tennessee on Sunday on a bullpen day. They were fine in the midweek this past week against Southeastern. You go face frontline or midline SEC pitching, and over the last month, the offense just hasn't been good enough. And there's going to be some times in the postseason where you're going to have to win games 2-1. I get that. Like, that's a reality that is going to happen or can happen. I mean, the game between LSU and Wake Forest, the Skeens-Louder game, was scoreless. It's just, I get it. There's going to be days where offense is tough to come by. Sunday should not have been one of those days, and that makes me concerned. I'm also concerned how Jay Johnson continues to dramatically alter the lineup. And I know there's going to be people who say to me, Matt, he's won a national championship. He's the coach of the team. What do you know? That's fine. Well, why are you listening? Why are you watching? Clearly, you respect or value my opinion, or the fact that I can pick the brains of really smart baseball people who can share their opinions with me. The example that I'll always give about baseball, it's like the stock market. You talk to any financial advisor, they're going to tell you, don't try to time the stock market. Just be in the stock market. Because if you try to time it, you're going to miss. So just stay in there and don't be moved by the ebbs and the flows, because there's going to be peaks and there's going to be valleys. But if you stay consistent long-term, you're going to win. So if you're LSU baseball and you've got the best roster, long-term, you're going to win. Just stay consistent. Derek Curiel's been awesome all year. He doesn't get on base in back-to-back games of a doubleheader, and now he's playing center field and batting in the 4-hole. Jared Jones batting leadoff. What Chris Stanfield has been your center fielder all year, has moved to left because he misplayed 2 balls in a doubleheader on the first game of a doubleheader on a windy day. So now we're going to move him to left. I can't get down with it. It feels way too reactionary in a sport where you've got to be even keel. And that does worry me. It's not to say that coaches can't play hunches. And there's times it really works. Listen, Jay Johnson and Nate Yeske, I thought, played the lefty-righty matchup very well in this ballgame. 3 consecutive times when Jace Laviolette was coming up with runners on base, LSU went and played a matchup, got a lefty, and it worked all 3 times. The first time, DJ Primo in the 4th got Laviolette to strike out. In the 6th, Cooper Williams came in, got Laviolette to strike out. In the 8th, they did it again, went to Connor Ware. They got Laviolette to hit a nubber off the end of the bat to third base, at least put in play. And God bless the kid, he beat it out. A run scored, and he beat it out. The bigger issue came then. The next batter hits a little flare to shallow right. It lands in front of Josh Pearson. What have I been saying all year? Play Jake Brown in right. He's your best right fielder. He's your best defensive right fielder. He's your fastest right fielder. Best glove. He's 6'2". He's longer. Jake Brown, I don't have a probability chart in front of me, but I'm going to guess Jake Brown gets to that ball that Josh Pearson didn't. If he did, you're back in the dugout and Caden Sorrell doesn't come up with 2 men on base. And you win that freaking game. Play your best players. It's not a hard concept. You want to play Ethan Fry and Josh Pearson? Awesome. Platoon him at DH. But every time you continue to take Jake Brown out of the lineup, you leave yourself vulnerable to situations like that. And I know there's going to be somebody going, hey, man, but Fry was 3 for 4 the other day. Great. You were facing 3 left-handed starting pitchers. DH Fry all weekend. And if they go to a righty in the bullpen, you want to get a left-handed bat? Perfect. Then in the 9th, we see Jay Johnson pinch hit for 2 lefties, to bring in 2 lefties cold off the bench to face one of the best relievers in college baseball. You watch Tanner Reeves come out there and Ashton Larson come out there cold, haven't seen the light of day all weekend. They got to go face Weston Moss cold off the bench. How did that work out? Not well. And by the way, you pinch hit Reeves for Hernandez, who doubled off the top of the wall and homered. And I get it, you're going lefty-righty, but my goodness, Hernandez was hot. Why are you taking his bat out of the lineup? There is such a thing as overmanaging. There is such a thing as overmanaging, overcoaching. Like, sometimes you have to let your best players go play the game. Unfortunately, I think that cost LSU in Game 3. Now, 6 conference games remaining. I think the Tigers got to win 4 of them. You win 4 of your final 6, and you're a national seed. Best way to do it, win 2 against Arkansas, win 2 against South Carolina. If you get 1 at home against Arkansas, now the pressure's on where you feel like you got to go sweep South Carolina on the road. So see if the Tigers can do it. 6 SEC games remaining. They'll play in the midweek against Grambling, the final midweek game of the season. Of course, we'll be here talking about it all throughout the season and the postseason on Locked On LSU. Hey, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, how about you go check out, I would tell you Locked On NFL Draft, but the draft's over, so don't go check that out. Just check out any of the great Locked On shows on the Locked On Podcast Network. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know. If they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.